Is Boris Johnson's government actually serious about being radical and using that chunky majority to actually bring about big changes in our country? Well, this next story is one of those that will signify, I think, the government's levels of how much they're going to actually use the majority to change Britain for the better. Because Charles Moore is being rumoured to be their pick on their radar to potentially be the BBC's next chairman. We're going to get into all of this and set it all out. But first of all, if you could please start out by giving this video a big thumbs up, click subscribe and the bell, that really helps me out. Now, Charles Moore, just to start off, after this video, after you've watched this report, if you just type in Charles Moore question time, you'll see what this fella is all about. Because on at least two of the clips, he actually points out how he's the token Brexiteer on the panel, something I know that you guys have been pointing out for years and years and years. I know many people have now simply stopped watching Question Time completely. But Charles Moore, on two specific examples that you can see right here on YouTube, actually points out, why am I the token Brexiteer when we're living in a pro-Brexit, pro-leave majority country? And he's done this more than once, as I say. And yet this is the guy, potentially, if the government have the balls, who could be made the next BBC chairman. So I really recommend you go and watch these clips to see what this guy's all about. Now, this has been reported in the Mail on Sunday with the quite hard-hitting headline, is Boris about to make Charles Moore, a pro-hunting, anti-licence fee Brexiteer, the new BBC chairman? It's the question that will have Broadcasting House wokerati choking on their turmeric lattes. The Mail on Sunday understands that Charles Moore, the former editor of the Daily Telegraph and the Spectator, is Downing Street's favoured choice to take over at the corporation when Sir David Clementi's 3-year term expires in February. And I'm only laughing because you could just imagine the reaction from BBC types reading this story. And of course, Lord Moore, said to be the BBC's worst nightmare made real, a fox hunting older Tony and Brexiteer being appointed the chairman on a platform of abolishing the licence fee. In 2010, it was reported that the former Daily Telegraph editor Charles Moore had actually been fined for failing to buy a TV licence in protest at the BBC's refusal to sack Jonathan Ross. Described in the Mail on Sunday as a provocative option even by the standards of Boris Johnson's number 10, Lord Moore, a vermin critic of the corporation's left-wing woke values and objects to its guaranteed £4 billion a year income and fee. And of course, despite all the BBC whining, we've seen recently, once again, the values at the heart of the BBC now, slashing local radio, slashing regional TV, but quite happy to sign Gary Lineker up to a 5-year big bucks deal to present football highlights that are often now on YouTube and social media hours before it's broadcast on the BBC. The whole thing is bizarre. BBC staffers, perhaps unsurprisingly, said to be hoping that number 10 plumps for one of the other names. Now, these other names I don't think are going to go down very well with you. These are said to be the alternatives. The likes of former Culture Secretary Nicky Morgan, former Chancellor George Osborne, pro-Remain Liberals who would represent the business as usual option. The Mail on Sunday laying out how relations between the BBC and number 10 have been fraught since last year's election, with Downing Street saying the corporation spoke to only a pro-Remain metropolitan bubble. And look, the BBC can try and brush this under the carpet all they want. Just look at the really rapid ascendancy of the Defund the BBC campaign. They clearly have struck a nerve in the public psyche. I just think there's two aspects, isn't there? Number one, it's the BBC bias, the left-wing woke culture that seems so deeply embedded into the corporation. On the other hand, it's just 2020. Why on earth should people have to pay for a service if they don't want it? They don't want to use the service. It's bonkers in an age of Amazon Prime, Netflix and everything else. And of course, YouTube. And by the way, thank you so much for helping this channel grow and thank you for watching. Number 10... had a temporary boycott of flagship news programmes on the BBC, including Radio 4's Today programme, that led to the acceleration of its plans to whack the licence fee by decriminalising non-payment. I'm going to get to that in a minute, but please let me know in the comments, guys. Do you still... I mean, I'd love to know how many of you actually do listen or watch any BBC programmes. let me know. From many people I know, anecdotal of course, they've basically tuned out completely. They have absolutely no interest, and they're angered that they still have to pay for it. But let me know in the comments if there are one or two things. I'd love to know that if you do value anything on the BBC or not, the people that watch this channel. Now, Lord Moore said to have previously described the BBC's bias as not chiefly party political, though it is certainly anti-Tory. It is a politico-cultural, woke, pro-Remain, credulously green, anti-market, obsessed with issues connected with diversity, yet itself not truly diverse at all. If you had watched only the BBC in 2016, he made the point, it would have come as an almost total shock to you when 17.4 million people voted to leave. And the Mail on Sunday pointing out this quote is the most chilling for BBC staff. Lord Moore quoted as saying, "The greatest single wrong on which the BBC rests is the licence fee. It is an offence to freedom and a poll tax for anyone with a television, and nowadays a computer or mobile phone. Non-payers, almost always poor, clog the magistrates' courts." Now, Charles Moore has been very outspoken on the BBC. This isn't a guy that's just made one or two comments. Here's an article from The Telegraph in 2019 entitled "Time to Abolish the Monstrous Poll Tax of the BBC Licence Fee." This is a guy that really has a track record of believing strongly that the current model of the BBC is wrong. And, yet this could be the guy potentially, if the government, as I say, have the balls to do it, that could become the next chairman of the corporation. Quoted as saying in that Telegraph piece, "I have no television, TV licensing. The BBC's fee collecting body falsely assumes I am evading and writes me accusing letters demanding money." Now, if you want to see just what a big deal this is, Andrew Neil, who of course has done a lot of work on the BBC and knows, I'm sure, the corporation inside out, has tweeted out this today saying, "BBC executives were choking on their muesli when it was reported that I was in the running to be the next chairman of the BBC. I have no interest in the job, but now the Daily Mail is reporting Charles Moore is favourite for the post. I expect the BBC to be begging me to take it." And Andrew Neil's someone I really respect, someone that's got his fingers on the pulse. That shows you just how seismic I think this move would be. And David Campbell-Bannerman, former Conservative MEP, saying, "Would be great news if true. Charles Moore is a very level-headed guy, a quality journalist, and of the centre right." For me with this story, there's 2 points to consider. Number one, how much difference can one man make? Now, of course, if he's in the position of chairman, he'll have some influence. But can one person in that position really influence the overall BBC culture and actually move it towards moving away from the licence fee? That's a question I simply don't know the answer to. But it could go one or two ways, couldn't it? You could end up with a BBC that becomes very different under his stewardship as chairman, or you could get a position where he's basically banging his head against a brick wall, nothing changes, and then he sort of ends up having not changed much at all. But let me know in the comments, guys, what you think he could do potentially as chairman of the BBC. And the second is whether the government actually have the guts to make such a radical appointment, because this is a long way from the likes of appointing a Nicky Morgan or even a George Osborne, isn't it? And what we see from the government, and we've heard previous reports about they're going to whack the licence fee and decriminalise the licence fee and all the rest of it. Well, that's fine. Briefings and rumour and all this sort of tough talk's fine. But do the government actually have the bottle to do it? And this is another one. Are they just briefing this out as Charles Moore to put the fear of life into some BBC executives and sort of shot across the bows, or is this actually serious? Will the government actually follow through with this? Let me know what you think about this, guys. As I say, it's an interesting story. I'm going to keep my eye on this story for you and bring you any developments on this. But let me know what you think about Charles Moore, the Brexiteer, potentially becoming the next chairman of the BBC. And as ever, if you've enjoyed this report, please click thumbs up, click subscribe and the bell. That really helps me out. And of course, you can support me on Patreon if you want to support my work as well. Thanks for watching.